I wish to thank Dr. Arun Kshetrapal sir, uh, and at the outset I wish to welcome you all for this meeting. So this is the IC, this is a flyer what was made by Arun Kshetrapal sir, very nicely made flyer. And so this is my financial disclosure. So I became an accidental entrepreneur uh, because I had to make solutions for myself. So all this started when I went to American Academy in 2016. I happened to see a 4K Panasonic camera there in one of the stalls, and it was costing $10,000. So I would never buy that kind of camera in my lifetime. So I had to think of some simple solutions. So when DSLRs were available and able to give the same quality of imaging, I thought, why not make something out of this? So when I came back home, I used a simple trial set to add the lenses and get to the focus of a Panasonic DSLR camera by which I could succeed. And then when I approached the industry, I could get an adapter. And when I presented my first presentation in an ISMS conference, I not only got an award, I got orders for five units on the same at the end of the meeting. That's when my idea to commercialize came into this thing. So just like all these YouTubers and all this thing, I just want you to subscribe to me. And so why do we have to take these pictures, and why do we want to document? Main thing is we want to retain the memories whenever we meet people. And this was the image taken at DreamCon at Mumbai. So if you want to relook the images that you have taken in the past, so you need to have a documentation. So why are we not documenting our work where we have spent all our energies throughout our lifetime and to become a perfect surgeon? So what is perfection now? So why do we need it? So one is to document one's work, to contribute for professional meetings, for medical legal purpose, to teach and to learn. So we have got different types of cameras here. Why should we learn? One is that you become a better surgeon. So when you go and review your surgeries, you will definitely be able to analyze your mistakes, and you will not be committing the same mistakes again. So these are the traditional cameras that we were using earlier. They were called CCD cameras, or the charged coupled device. Okay. Now you are getting a very high-end HD cameras at almost a very nominal cost. And this is the common mindset of the people, that whenever we put a camera, simply you start recording, like fill it, shut it and forget it, or a ready mix which is there where you can make your idli batter and just eat right away. That is not the way that we can record our surgeries. We need to have little expertise. I do not say that you need to be a good photographer or videographer or learn some course in videography. You just have to understand some basic things. So this is how the basic unit looks. So you can see the C-mount camera there, a C-mount and a beam splitter. And these are the three simple components that is there. And people always get confused about these things. Sometimes they get confused with the C-mount and they tell that that is a beam splitter. And a beam splitter is confused to a C-mount. So, sorry. Yeah. So beam splitter, we have got two types. We prefer to use, sorry, why it is running? Yeah. 80-20 we prefer basically for anti-segment, because 80% of the light is transmitted and it comes to the surgeon, whereas 20% is reflected to the camera. That's why for anti-segment recording, you do not require a beam splitter which is 50-50. So 50-50 is ideally preferred for a posterior segment recording. And this DSLR adapter is nothing but a modified C-mount. Why it's called modified C-mount is because C-mount was called Cinemount when the Hollywood movies were made in that mount. So it replaces the conventional C-mount. And mirrorless DSLR, we have got so many versions, so many companies, but still I would prefer a Sony and a Panasonic in this segment. And there's one more camera called Blackmagic Pocket Camera. So the connecting cables are of HDMI 2, where you will be able to record in a very high quality, like especially like 4K. You will be able to transmit the images very easily through this HDMI 2 cable. And memory card will have certain specifications that I'll be dealing shortly. So now Dr. Kakade sir is here. He is one of the great innovators that the world has seen, and he has made one C-mount. It is not a C-mount based device. It's a very small camera, just a 30-gram camera. You can see there on the left side there, which is mounted onto the beam splitter, and on the other side we have got the existing C-mount system. So this is the ESC camera, which has got a Sony sensor, which is HD camera, which costs just about 25 to 30,000 rupees. And the people who are already using old CCD cameras, it is high time now that they can replace such cameras with this camera and get equal good quality of recording. So these are the different settings that you can have with the help of a remote that you can use it. And so why should we go from full HD to HD, ultra HD? So there's a wow factor there. So the quality of imaging that you are going to get will be definitely much of a better quality. And I always recommend people that if you have got time and patience, you always try to record the videos in the highest quality. So if you have recorded in 4K, it doesn't mean that you have to go and present it in 4K, because 4K projectors are still not available on any of the international meetings so far. So by the time the technology develops, then probably one day you may be able to have 4K projectors for you to project. Till such time, you can downgrade your existing 4K recordings into a full HD. And there are so much of literature is there about the mirrorless recordings, and these are the different resolutions of the 4K that you have. So you should know with what kind of 4K that you are going to record. So don't listen to Microscope personnel who will not only misguide you, they are made to advertise their own products, and they will give very bad opinion about the third-party manufacturers. So don't worry about that. And now India is a Vishwaguru, so we have to be self-dependent. So government is giving so much of subsidies and startup facilities, so you can develop your own techniques. And a person like Dr. Kakade sir, he would not require any of these startup this. And what is the basic homework that you need to do when you want to start a recording system? So this is how. So here, when you want to buy a camera, you need not simply just go and buy a camera. So always you should look for this quality of a camera when you are going to buy. First is the sensors of a mirrorless camera. It has got a rating. So there's a website by name DxO Mark. So what they see is the ISO range, the dynamic range, the color space, and as the sensor rating is higher, the camera cost automatically increases. But they are definitely economical than CCD cameras and the current medical grade cameras, because medical grade cameras are made in very small quantity. That's the reason the costs go up. Whereas commercial DSLRs, they are made in few millions. So that's the reason, because they're commercial DSLRs, the cost comes down. So always you have to remember about this exposure triangle of ISO, shutter speed, and aperture. So as the ISO increases, the brightness increases, and as the shutter speed decreases, the brightness increases. So aperture here, we do not have much role of aperture here, because the DSLR cameras, once it's a mirrorless camera which is mounted on a DSLR or a C-mount adapter, we do not have an aperture there. So these are the picture profiles on any camera that you see. So standard, vivid, natural, monochrome. So each has got a particular advantage. So wherever you need lower saturation and contrast, or wherever you need increased saturation and contrast, you have to shift to those modes and then do the recordings. So these are the different file formats that you have got: AVCHD, MPEG-4, so MOV files. So all these files, once they are recorded, you can process it into any other file. It can be converted anytime. And what is important is that you should know about the frame rate of your region, because there in certain parts of the world you have got NTSC, or in certain parts you have got PAL. So they are in different distribution method also, 24p, 30p, 60p, and the style of your recording also, that is the frames per second. So these are the standard this thing that you get on any of your DSLRs now. So you just have to make some adjustments. So these are different say crop factors that are available in many of these cameras. So I'm just giving some specifications on Sony A7S II. So what are the advantages of DSLR over CCD? So CCD is almost getting obsolete now. So let us not discuss about anything about DSLR versus CCD. We can only think of DSLR versus C-mount cameras. So they have got large sensors, high resolution, extensive dynamic range. I'll just discuss about what do you mean by the extensive dynamic range and light sensitivity. So, and one thing important is that you should know what card you are going to buy. You cannot simply go to a shop and buy one memory card and start shooting your surgeries, because when you are recording the surgeries in a very high quality, they should have these specifications there, what you are seeing, say class 3, SDXC and 10, whatever those numbers are there, they are very, very important. And what is important is the write speed. The write speed should be more than 90 MB per second. Only then your say video will be streamlined well. And read speed is not that important, but write speed is very, very important. So these are the different cards that are available in the market. So this is an external recorder where you can record the videos by an external HDMI source other than the internal recording. But at present, there is a limitation for recording 4K in an external recorder. 4K can be recorded only on the internal memory card and not on this external recorder. Some few external recorders are available now in the market, but they are too expensive, somewhere close to 70-75K. So here, simultaneously, you can record 4K in the internal memory card and in Full HD in Evermedia or Atomos Ninja. So what HDMI cables that you should prefer? So these are the different types of HDMI cables available for 4K, high speed with internet, without Ethernet. And when you are recording in a higher frame rate, you know, something like Ultra HD, what you want to record, that is at 60 frames per second or 120 frames per second. That's why these kind of HDMI cables are preferred. I'll just show you how does it help. So now there are so many disadvantages of DSLR that people say. So, but I did not understand anything about this, and I think even you will not understand. So just go for simple solutions what is available, and we can have very good quality recording. So this is the way the attachment is made. So this has been, at our institute we have got a Visu 140 microscope. Anybody can simply mount this. All that you need to fit is a beam splitter and then mount a C-mount and DSLR camera. So you have got finger touch options there where you can record, you can choose what style and what format you want to record. And then comes the dynamic range. What do you mean by dynamic range? So imagine there is a picture taken with two cameras there, and you see the contrast on the other side. See where you want to see the greenery there and the sky simultaneously, so it doesn't match well. So skies are highlighted and these are the shadows. So eye has got a very, very high dynamic range. That's the reason your eye is able to capture this. And here, if you have a good camera, which will have, see the camera A has got capacity to highlight both the dark and the light areas, and an average DSLR will have this much of dynamic range, whereas human dynamic range is much wider. So this is the image taken from a mobile phone, Xiaomi M5, and you see the dynamic range difference between this and a Canon 5D Mark III camera. So when an image is, say video is taken at say 30 frames per second, okay, if you imagine watching a TV and a TV anchor speaking to you, so the recordings are done at about 30 frames per second. So you have got an option of reducing the frames per second to about 24 to 25, which has got a very cinematic look. That's why many of the photographers, they like to do the recordings at 24 or 25 frames per second. So when a 25 or 30 frames per second image is played, this is how it looks. So a camera, see this is at the 30 frames per second, whereas the shutter speed is at about 1/100th of a second. So you will be able to see the fine movements in a say slow motion.
Satish, thoda sa fast.
Yes. Yeah, this is the video by Dr. Deepak Megur, where he has recorded the world's fastest Argentinian flag sign. That's what he claims. So this was possible only by a good quality recording. So on a 30 frames per second, if you have got a 4K video, so that plays like this. And the same video, when if it is played at when it is recorded at 120 frames per second, and if it is played at 30 frames per second, this is how it will start appearing in a slow motion. So if you want to record in higher frame rate, you should be able to play in the same frame rate. That's very, very important. Whereas in post-production, if you want to do any kind of correction, the image becomes choppy, and this is how it looks. So you should always follow the 180-degree rule, where the frame rate should be equal to double the shutter speed. So this is universally needed for photography, not for videography, but for videography also you can keep the same settings. So these are the two cameras I was suggesting, Sony A7S II. The advantage is that this camera was mounted on International Space Station. That's the reason it has got very good low light sensitivity. So this is the video that has been shot. This is a raw video. So whatever videos are being shown to you by the presenters, they are all post-processed. They are not the original videos what they have already shot. So this is the original footage of the video taken by a surgeon. You see there is gross decentration there. Okay, most of the lid is covering. So you need an assistant there, a trained assistant who can guide you when your recording is going on, so that your image is centered. And instead of wasting time later on and losing out on most of the information, better that you center your surgery while the surgery is going on. Look for the decentration, look for the defocus. See, now the image has been centered. So retinal surgery is a different ball game altogether. So this was the video that we recorded with Dr. Natarajan at Mumbai. So this is still the raw video and not the processed video. Later on this can be processed, and it can be still made to look much better. So, and you have got mobile adapters. They are again commercially available. Remedio and some other companies are making that. And we had given say slit lamp adapters in a teleophthalmology project through this AAC camera. So that has also been a very, very successful project. And now I would like, and I have got Suven Bhattacharjee here, who has given me a very good review about the adapter which we provided to him. And now I'm just going to show you, this is also an unprocessed video. So how you can enhance the video quality, so is by a device which Dr. Kakadia sir has made, and he has made at least nearly about 2,500 surgeons could save their money on upgrading their microscope. So equal good quality of imaging that you are able to get with the help of OmniGlow. So I think we can take this video at the end also. Yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Satish, for an elaborate show on recording your videos through your microscopes, a deep knowledge into the beam splitters and different types of